Morning. Councillor Thompson, if you could turn on your camera, please. Perfect. Thank you, sir. We have quorum. We're going to get the meeting underway. Good morning, everybody, and Happy New Year. Best wishes for 2025 to everybody. My name is Paul Ainsley. I am the chair of Scarborough Community Council. The clerk says that we have quorum, so I'm calling meeting number 19 to order. Welcome, everyone. Today's meeting is being held by video conference and in person here at the Scarborough Civic Center in the Council Chamber. This meeting is also being live streamed online at youtube.com/Toronto City Council Live. For the land acknowledgement, I would like to say on behalf of myself, my colleagues, and our staff that although we may be meeting in different locations today, Community Council would like to acknowledge, that the land we're meeting on is the traditional territory of many nations, including the Mississaugas of the Credit, the Anishinaabe, the Chippewa, the Haudenosaunee, and the Wendat peoples, and is now home to many diverse First Nations, Inuit, and Métis peoples. We also want to acknowledge Toronto is covered by Treaty Number 13 with the Mississaugas of the Credit and the Williams Treaty signed with multiple Mississauga and Chippewa bands. Thank you. And I'd just like to remind people, if you are registered to speak at today's meeting, if you could please listen for me to call your name. I'm going to call speakers in the order that they appear on the speakers list. The list of speakers can also be viewed online by visiting the Scarborough Community Council page at toronto.ca/council and clicking the speakers box for today's meeting. For members of the Community Council, I'd just like to remind you the clerk has provided all meeting materials on the website at toronto.ca/council and on the clerk's meeting portal. Clerk's IT staff are available to members if you have any trouble with your electronic devices. And just a reminder to please submit and approve your motions by email to the clerk. Staff are available at scc@toronto.ca to help with any motions. At this point, I'm going to ask if there's any declarations of interest under the Municipal Conflict of Interest Act. If so, if you could please raise your hand and let me know in the item and the nature of your conflicts. Seeing none, can I have a motion to confirm the minutes of our last meeting on December 6, 2024? Moved by Councillor Myers, seconded by Councillor Thompson. All in favor? That carries. I'm now going to go through the agenda. So our first item, sorry, I got to switch paper. Okay, our first item is SC 19.1, 2759 and 2761 to 2763 Kingston Road and 52 St. Quentin Avenue official plan and zoning bylaw amendment application. This is a decision report for approval in Ward 20. And I believe we have two speakers on this. Sorry, Councillor Cannavale.
As I shared earlier, for the item.
Okay, and so we have two registered speakers. Matthew Lang and Jennifer Mastery from NA Development Services. So Councillor Cannavale's intention is to defer this item to the next meeting?
Yes.
And so you are listed as a registered speaker. If you choose to speak today under our procedural guidelines, you won't be able to speak at the next meeting when this is heard again. So the option is yours. Yep. Yep.
Hi, good morning. My name is Matthew Lang, agent for the owner, and with me today is Jennifer Mastery, planner at FO10 Developments. I'd just like to briefly say a couple of things, if I may.
Yep. You won't be able to speak at the next meeting when this is deferred, though. The choice is yours.
No problem. Sorry, and this is embarrassing, but my audio actually clicked out. What is Councillor Cannavale's
yeah, so
motion?
Councillor Cannavale is just deferring this to the next meeting of Scarborough Community Council so it can be heard. So your option is you can either speak today or you can wait until we deal with this at the next meeting. But if you speak today, you're not allowed to speak at the next meeting.
Oh, okay. In that case, I will not speak today. Thank you.
Okay, and the same with your colleague.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Cannavale, you're moving deferral to the next meeting? Okay. So there's the motion on the screen. All in favor of that? And that carries. Our next item is SC 19.2, 900 Middlefield Road, official plan amendment, zoning amendment application, decision report for approval. This is in Ward 23. Councillor Myers?
I'll be moving deferral, but I see that there's some speakers, so if they'd like to speak.
Okay, have you spoken with any of them? Or?
Not yet.
Nope.
And I
Okay.
just sent the email to Nancy.
Okay, so to the speakers that are registered for SC 19.2, 900 Middlefield Road, Councillor Myers' intention is to move deferral until the next meeting,
Until April, sorry.
until April.
Yes.
So this is the same thing. If you speak today, you won't be able to speak at the April meeting. So is there anybody that would like to speak today as opposed to in April? If you could raise your hand. Sorry, yes, ma'am? You'd like to speak today? And sorry, you are? Okay, all right. So I'm just going to hold this down. We will call your name when we get to this item. Okay. So Nancy, we do have the owner's representative would like to speak this morning. So I'm going to hold that down. Just reopen it. Sorry, Councillor Cannavale. Sorry, on the first item, I need you to reopen it. You just had the wrong date in your motion. So motion to reopen SC 19.1, 2759 and 2761 to 2763 Kingston Road and 52 St. Quentin Avenue. Motion to reopen. All in favor? That carries. And then the revised motion on the screen with the date. All in favor? That carries. Thank you. And item number 2, we're holding down for deputation. SC 19.3, 515 Markham Road, city-initiated zoning bylaw amendment, reallocating section 37 funds within Ward 24. This is a decision report for approval. It's actually in my ward, so I'm going to move the recommendations. All in favor? That carries. Next item, SC 19.4, 152, 1552, 1554, 1562, 1570, 1572 Kingston Road, zoning bylaw amendment application. This is an appeal report in Ward 20. Councillor Cannavale? Moving the recommendations. Councillor Cannavale is moving the recommendations. All in favor? That carries. Our next item is SC 19.5, 96 Dunelm Street for residential demolition application. This is in Ward 24. I'm going to move recommendation number 1, refuse the application to demolish the vacant residential building because there's no permit application to replace the building on the site. All in favor? That carries. SC 19.6, Cathedral Bluffs Drive, traffic calming speed humps in Ward 20. Councillor Cannavale? Councillor Cannavale is moving the staff recommendations for SC 19.6. All in favor? That carries. Our next item is SC 19.7, Elfreda Boulevard, traffic calming speed humps in Ward 20. Councillor Cannavale? Councillor Cannavale is moving the staff recommendations. All in favor? That carries. SC 19.8, Adanac Drive, parking amendments in Ward 20. Councillor Cannavale? Councillor Cannavale is moving staff recommendations. All in favor? That carries. SC 19.9, amend the existing community safety zone on Orton Park Road in Ward 24. There's a letter from myself. I'm moving the recommendation. All in favor? That carries. All right, we are back to SC 19.2, 900 Middlefield Road, official plan amendment, zoning amendment application, decision report for approval. And you're Johanna Fast? All right, Johanna. So I don't know if you've been here before. The way this works is you have 5 minutes to make a presentation to myself and my colleagues. After your 5 minutes, any one of us can ask questions of you for up to 5 minutes, and then we move it into committee where we can ask staff for up to 5 minutes. And then we can speak to it after that and move motions. So you have 5 minutes whenever you're ready.
Okay, I do have a presentation, and I think it should be coming up momentarily. There we go. Good morning, Mr. Chair and members of council. My name is Joanna Fast. I'm a planner with Groundswell Urban Planners, and I'm here today on behalf of the owner of the property at 900 Middlefield Road. I'm just having some trouble with the presentation here. If you could just pause my time. It's not going to the side. It's not changing to the next slide. Oh, there it goes. Okay, sorry about that.
I'll give you 20 seconds.
Thank you. The subject property is located at the northwest corner of Middlefield Road and Ingleton Boulevard. To the north of the subject site is the Milliken District Park. To the east is the Tapscott Employment Area. To the south, we have a single detached residential. And to the west is a temple that's currently under construction. And Middlefield Road is considered a major street. The existing site is developed with a one-story commercial plaza. Currently, only one unit within that plaza is rented month to month. The site is ideally situated to allow for intensification. It's a large lot. It's located along a major street. As council is aware, the city recently conducted and council approved the EHON Major Streets Initiative, which would allow buildings up to 6 stories in height along major streets. That is under appeal, but it was the council direction to approve that. It's adjacent to the parking lot, a large parking lot for the place of worship. It abuts Middlefield Milliken Park to the north, and also a forested area. We have the employment uses to the west, and it will not have shadow impacts on the detached homes to the south due to the site's orientation. And it'll allow for increased utilization of nearby parks, trails, recreation centers, services, and local amenities. We're proposing to redevelop the site with a 5-story apartment building. It contains 48 residential units. They consist of 1, 2, and 3 bedroom units. It's actually 4 stories of apartment units, and there's a small indoor amenity area that you can see on the site plan that will be at the 5th floor, and that's located at the northerly limit of the site. We are proposing 55 parking spaces and 36 bicycle spaces. There's a ground floor retail component of 199 square meters. And beside that, there's a proposed public plaza, and we're also proposing to relocate a bus shelter for the area. The proposed development will improve the streetscape along this area, which currently has an inadequate sidewalk along Middlefield Road, and we're going to improve the public realm as well as the transit infrastructure. The City of Toronto official plan designates the property neighborhoods, and we're asking for an official plan amendment to allow for the proposed development up to 5 stories. And the site is zoned commercial local, and we need a zoning bylaw amendment to rezone it to a multiple residential zone with site-specific performance standards. When looking at compatibility, the site is an excellent candidate for intensification. There's a place of worship next door. As I mentioned, the Milliken Park. The residential to the south, the building is completely within a 45-degree angular plane, and because those buildings are to the south, there's no shadow impacts on them whatsoever. The fifth-story amenity area is located at the north limit of the site, and as I mentioned, it's in alignment with the EHON Major Street Study. Furthermore, the employment area to the east, we prepared a land use compatibility assessment as well as a noise study. Those studies were peer-reviewed and found that the development would be compatible. We are within the area of influence of the some of the industries within the employment area, but we meet the required setbacks. And so today, we only have the official plan amendment and zoning bylaw amendment approvals coming forward. And this development will be subject to a future site plan control process where we would be required to enter into a site plan agreement, and items would be required to be placed on title, such as the necessary warning clauses that would indicate to purchasers that there are employment area uses within the area. So again, I'd just quickly like to go over the key considerations. City staff are recommending approval of the applications. It has regard for matters of the within the Planning Act. We are consistent with the provincial policy statement, consistent with previous council direction with respect to the EHON Major Street Studies. It's gentle intensification. We're consistent with the city's urban design guidelines. We have small-scale retail, which supports the local community. We're compatible with the surrounding uses. We're making improvements to the streetscape and the public realm, as well as transit infrastructure. We have a range of unit sizes. The development will allow for the efficient use of public services and facilities, and will have minimal impact to traffic operations in the area. We're proposing new landscaping and tree planting on the site, and it will provide for necessary housing in an appropriate location. And again, I'd like to point out that the development will require a future application for site plan control. I know that there was a submission made yesterday requesting deferral of this application. Their concern was with respect to warning clauses, and I respectfully ask that the item not be deferred today and that council consider approval because the necessary warning clauses can be implemented at the site plan approval stage. And if council has any questions on that, they can certainly ask staff for their opinion on that as well. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much. Question of the deputy, Councilor Myers.
Thank you. Through you, Chair. Thank you for your deputation. A few quick questions. So I guess my first question is, in the noise studies, did you take into account trucks, vehicles that service the employment area?
The noise studies, I believe, did take into consider the compatibility studies that were prepared would have considered noise and odor and other issues of compatibility. And they were peer-reviewed by the city's peer review consultant. It's a requirement of the official plan. And we were found, the peer reviewer agreed with the conclusions of our studies.
Okay. Does the proposal contain any affordable housing units?
Through you, Mr. Chair, no, it doesn't contain any affordable housing. It has a range of unit sizes, which would have different price points, but there's no affordable housing proposed.
Okay. There is currently in the commercial building, there is an ethnic grocery store that is quite important to the community. Have you had any discussions with the owner about making sure that those types of amenities and services are available in the new developments?
So the new development has 199 square meters of commercial space. We could enter into some discussions with the current tenant to have space within the new development. But we have not entered into any agreements with them. They're currently renting sort of their space month by month. There is quite a bit of commercial space within the area. To the north at Steeles and Middlefield, there's a large commercial plaza, but we can certainly investigate whether there's the opportunity for that tenant to move into the new building once it's constructed.
Thank you. And how do you envision your traffic construction mitigation strategy? Because as I'm sure you know, there's a temple that's being built. It was built. The entrance for the construction site was on Ingleton Boulevard, which was quite disruptive to the neighbors. This has been going on for a year and a half, I'd say, and now we would start another project right beside that.
So through the chair, through the site plan approval process, we'll have to prepare a construction management plan. That wasn't a requirement for the land use approvals for the official plan and zoning bylaw amendment, but it is a requirement, a typical requirement for the site plan approval. And I would expect that since the current site driveway fronts onto Middlefield, that there's the possibility that it could continue to be used as a construction entrance. But because that evaluation hasn't been done, I can't speak to that.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Myers. Other questions of the deputant? None? Okay, thank you very much. So I believe there aren't any other speakers. Your intent's to defer. Sorry, yep, okay. And sorry, just online, so I have a Kristen Chan, land use planner for the planning agency. Kristen, did you want to speak this morning, or did you want to wait until this meeting, sorry, this item's heard in April?
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and good morning, councillors. My name is Christian Chen. I'm the registered professional planner retained by Owens Corning, 3450 Minicle Road. If the intent of the community council is to defer this item today, then I would reserve my right to speak at the upcoming meeting. But if it's going to be considered for adoption or otherwise today, then I would like to speak on the item. But I believe that it is the intent of Councillor Myers to defer the consideration of the application.
Okay, thank you, Christian. Okay, so we're going to move.
Thank you, sir.
We are going to move to speakers. Speakers on this item, Councillor Myers.
Am I allowed to ask staff questions if I'm deferring? No? Okay. So yes, okay. So I will just move deferral until April. I think there are just some key questions that need to be answered as this is next to an employment area. I have a lot of employment areas in my ward, and a lot of them are being run out of business because of vexatious complaints from people who move next to employment areas, and then they start complaining about noises and odors and that type of thing. So I just want to make sure that we are protecting the local jobs that are there. They're important for the people who live there. A lot of people work there as well. And I also want to make sure that there is a solid construction mitigation plan in place. The temple that is currently being built right next to this proposed site has caused a lot of issues for the local neighborhood with respect to dust, noise, traffic mitigation, and I'm very, very cautious of making sure that whatever is approved is done so respectfully with the community, and to make sure that there are proper traffic mitigation measures in place before I give the approval. So for all those reasons, I'd like to defer.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Myers. Any questions of the mover? Seeing none, all in favor of the motion to defer this item until April, that carries. And I believe on Nancy, bills? We just have the bills to take care of. Excuse me. All right, so we have motion number 1 on the screen. Deputy Mayor McKelvey, would you like to move it?
Sorry, I had to find the unmute button. Yes, so moved.
Those following along in my adventures, I can now see you all. So, hey, there you go. I'll be back.
Sure. So the bills 12 and 13 prepared for the January 14th, 2025 meeting number 19 of Scarborough Community Council be declared as bylaws and passed subject to section 226.9 of the City of Toronto Act 2006, moved by Deputy Mayor McKelvey. All in favor? That carries. And we have one more. Motion number 2. Councillor Myers.
That confirmatory bills to confirm the legislative proceedings of the Scarborough Community Council acting under delegated authority at meeting 19 on January 14th, 2025 be declared as bylaws and passed subject to section 226.9 of the City of Toronto Act 2006.
All in favor? That carries. And I believe that's our business for today. Motion to adjourn. Councillor Cannavale, all in favor, and that carries. Thank you, everybody.